Marxism and Buddhism. Marxism and Buddhism might not seem to have much in common. It is so close, in fact, that Buddhist metaphysics can complement Marxist socio-economic philosophy. So do Marxism and Buddhism really complement each other? Central to both philosophies is a schema of diagnosis and treatment. It is not difficult to see what is behind the concept of dukkha. Life is full of suffering, mental and physical, and in many cases there is little we can do about it. All this is inevitable since the world is a world of impermanence and transience, and nitya is the Buddhist term. The reality of suffering is an incontestable, ubiquitous truth. We are attached to our job, our family, our possessions and ourselves. So the cause of our suffering is not the nature of reality itself, but our attitude towards it. According to Marx Das Kapital, 1867, there is more to dukkha than the impermanent nature of reality. According to Marx, there is an extra source of suffering in the mode of production. Buddhists know about the elusiveness of happiness. Capitalism evolved around the human desire for a meaningful existence, but it offers only short-term happiness. The consumerist mentality is not the remedy. Yet, there must be a self, otherwise we could not be alienated from it. But is it an empty vessel that asks for refueling? Meanwhile, according to Buddhist philosophy, there is no self as entity, but only as a loose set of relations. But denying that there is a substance to the self, in a deep metaphysical sense, does not imply that there is no such thing that functions as a self. In fact, Buddhists did not want to eliminate the self once and for all, and neither did Marx. There has to be something that functions as the locus of suffering. If something is empty of substance, then it is relations that define the thing. This, in short, is the Buddhist notion of emptiness. The notion of emptiness includes the notion of self. The self, too, is empty in that it is exclusively defined by its relations, not some underlying substance. The Marxist idea of the self is defined by its biological, psychological and economic relations to others, indeed all others inside the animate and inanimate world. Just like the net metaphor suggests, this creates a universal interdependence, or interbeing as the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh called it in the 1960s. This really is the point of the idea of no self. There are relations, but no vessels. The realization of interbeing and emptiness, two sides of one coin, generates compassion, according to the Buddhists. Capitalism obfuscates this interdependence by fostering a reckless and mythical individuality, but in Marxist thought interdependence is omnipresent. So, the Buddhist metaphysics of emptiness and its concept of the empty self can, and should, serve as a foundation for the Marxist picture. The goal is a nirvana of society, as the Dalai Lama says. A society based on the Buddhist ideal of compassion is one where Marxism could finally be implemented. Let's call the Marxist socio-economic system that is grounded in Buddhist metaphysics compassionate Marxism. The focus of compassionate Marxism has to be on ahimsa, non-violence. Only then can Marxism be immune to totalitarian and authoritarian abuse, and hence no longer prone to repeat its history. Humanity is not evil because the economic system is. The economic system is evil because humanity is. The feasibility of the Marxist project is grounded in the benevolent communal nature of the human being. But for Marx, it is the socio-economic conditions that are to blame for cruelty, hatred and crime. In the end, we are the atoms of economics, the agents of trade. Economics is dependent on us, not vice versa. The capitalist system just suits our nature. All signs indicate that we don't have the capacities for universal benevolent compassion, uncontaminated by a proclivity to evil, hatred and competition. Buddhist practice could help us overcome the evil aspects of our nature and promote the compassionate side within us. The socio-economic system of compassionate Marxism could be the breeding ground for compassion, and compassion the motor of a socio-economic system with low dukha. Working on the inner Tyrannosaurus would benefit those suffering from capitalism, which, according to Marx and Buddha, is everyone. Social change requires inner change, becoming less selfish, says the Dalai Lama.